What's up, fellas? Welcome back to another video. Today we have our first ever, episode of the Rio Rejects. I'm just gonna be showing y'all my team. I just want to start it off by saying this entire series is inspired by RBT's Madden 19 The Rejects franchise. I used to love that when I was a young man, so thought I'd run it back. To start things off here, we've got our quarterback Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. He used to be pretty good there. I thought he was actually going to end up being the Vikings starting quarterback after Kirk left, but obviously he did get cut. Next up, we've got Kurt Benkert. I don't know if this guy was ever really good. He's obviously way better than normal people. He is a TikToker though, so that's why he's here. Next up, we've got Chosen Rosen. If you know, you know. The 9 mistakes ahead of Rosen. We'll see if they catch up to him here. He is only a 56 overall. 27 years old. A top 10 pick 6 years into their career being a 56. Terrible, man. I don't know what happened to this guy. The Cardinals gave up on him after 1 year, actually. I do know what happened. Kyler Murray, you are a son of a gun. Our team does originate from the Cardinals, so he is pretty much back in Arizona, even though we are in Rio now. Next up, checking out the running backs, and we do have a Le'Veon Bell. We managed to convince him to come out of retirement. Obviously, he was a dog on the Steelers, but once he started to hold out and went to the Jets, things went downhill, I guess you could say. He is only a 69 overall here because, well, he's been out of the league for a while, and running backs don't tend to age well. He is only 32 years old though, so we will see. Next up, another guy who we'll see how age factors him, DeAnthony Thomas. This guy was insane at Oregon, one of the most shifty players ever. I didn't personally get to watch him, but I've seen his highlights, and that man is just, it's ridiculous. Next up, we got Corey Clement. I just added this guy because I used to sign him in like Madden 17 all the time, and I don't know. He's a 67 overall, 29. I guess he never picked up speed in the NFL. And then we got Kerryon Johnson. This guy was insane at Auburn. Matt Patricia ruined this guy's career. Obviously, he is coaching now. He is the director of player development at the University of North Alabama. It's interesting, but I don't think he'd hate to get a call. Next up, we've got Jason Kabinda. This guy, he looks very interesting. I remember he was one of the best fullbacks in the league for the Lions a couple years ago. I don't know what happened, but I guess they gave up on him. Probably pretty difficult to stay in the league as a fullback, I'd assume. Next up for the wide receivers, we do have one of our highest overalls, Jalen Reagor from TCU. This guy was drafted above J-Jet, obviously never panned out to what the Eagles thought he would. Justin Jefferson is obviously the pick. Next up, we got Keelan Cole. This guy has made some insane catches, like highlight reel for the Jets and Jags. Ridiculous. Hopefully he can do that for us. He is 31 years old and a 69 overall now, so we don't really know what he's going to be doing for us, but hopefully it's great. Next up, Amari Rodgers out of Clemson. I personally am a Clemson fan. I used to love watching this guy. Only 89 speed is a little disrespectful, but he did go to the XFL. I believe he was on the Birmingham Stallions with Matt Corral. They were kind of cooking a little bit. Hopefully he can bring the same production to the NFL. Obviously it's not quite the same, but I hope it'll transition at least a little bit. Next, we've got Tavon Austin, 33 years old here out of West Virginia. I know he's 5'8". It would not let me bring his height down anymore. Everyone has seen this guy's highlight reel at West Virginia. Just absolutely ridiculous athlete. Hopefully we can get even an eighth of that on this team. We're gonna need it. He never really panned out in the NFL like he was supposed to. Played for the Rams, Cowboys. Never really was the same player he was at West Virginia. Hopefully we can bring that out of him at 33. Next up, we got Hakeem Butler. I saw him all over TikTok doing crazy things with the St. Louis Battlehawks. Another XFL guy that we called up. He's 6'5" and does have 88 speed, so the potential's there. He is 28 years old. Not going to develop him into anything really, but we just need a little bit of talent to start out. I'm not saying he's crazy talented or anything, but 6'5" is definitely going to add another dimension to this offense. Speaking of adding another dimension here, we've got Devin Allen, who is a track and field athlete that got called into the NFL, I believe by the Eagles. He does have 95 speed, the fastest receiver on the roster. He is unfortunately 29 years old, even though he's only been in the league for 2 years. All we need is speed right now. That does not matter. Heading over to the tight ends, and we've got 37-year-old Jimmy Graham. Obviously, he was an absolute stud at one point in his career, but he's past that point. 6'7", 260, and 79 speed for a 37-year-old man is still a very serviceable player, though, so he's going to be nice for us. And then we've got OJ Howard, who is a former first-round pick pick. I thought this guy was going to be insane. When Tom Brady went to the Bucks, I thought OJ was going to be the guy, but pretty much immediately they did bring in Rob Gronkowski, so he did get cast aside, got traded to the Bills, never really did anything there because of Dawson Knox, and then they drafted obviously Dalton Kincaid. So he went to the Texans, and then Brevin Jordan broke out. Unfortunately, this guy just had some bad luck. He was very, very good at Alabama. Hopefully he can bring that out here. He is 29 years old now. I remember doing franchises with this guy when he was a rookie. It's crazy. Next up, we've got JJ Arcega-Whiteside. He was a former wide receiver for the Eagles, got transitioned into a tight end because he was not very good, but he is the fastest tight end on the roster with 86 speed and also the youngest, so he does have the highest upside. Maybe we will be able to develop him into something, but I doubt it, I'll be honest. Checking out the offensive line now, we've got Cameron Irving, who has caused me immense pain as a Panthers fan. This guy is terrible. Next up, we've got Greg Little. I've heard this guy is really bad from Jaguars fans. Next up, Michael Jordan, the GOAT. You know, we had to get him on the team. He's played for a lot of teams. He did play for my Carolina Panthers at one point. Wish we still had him, but, you know. Behind him, we do have another NBA Hall of Famer, Durant. Unfortunately, it's not Kevin, it is Yasir. But two Hall of Fame players at left guard. Cannot complain there. At center, we do have Chris Lindstrom's brother, Alec. I believe we can develop this guy into something. He's only 26 years old and a 61 overall. If he can be anything like his brother, that will be amazing for us. I doubt it. Behind him, we do have Kyle Fuller, who looks like he's gained a substantial amount of weight. Hopefully, we can get him to recruit Kindle. At right guard, we do have Solomon Kindley, who I used to trade for in a lot of Madden franchises. He used to be on the Dolphins. He was a star dev. He was always a 68 overall, but now he is normal, and the Dolphins did not pick up his contract, so he was sitting in free agency. We had to scoop him up. Next up behind him, we've got Keith Ishmael. Don't know about him, but his name's Keith, so he looked like a great guy. At right tackle, we do have 42-year-old Jason Peters, who is the highest overall on the team, but is also the oldest. This guy is going to be a statue out on this field. He's played for a lot of teams. His services have been used by the Cowboys very recently. I believe as recent as last year. He couldn't find a job this year, so he decided to come out to Rio and become a reject. Behind him, we've got Prince Tega Wanaho out of Auburn. I remember very vividly when this guy was getting drafted. I don't think he was good or anything. His name is just very beautiful, and we can probably develop him into something when Jason Peters retires. Starting out on the defense, left end is Bruce Irvin. This guy was obviously a key contributor to the Seahawks defense back in their Super Bowl days, but he is 36 years old now and is 69 overall. Does still have some good attributes with 83 speed, 74 power moves, but the finesse moves, not very good. Behind him, we do have Isaac Rochelle, who hopefully can learn a little bit from Bruce Irvin. Once again, just another guy I saw on TikTok. His wife is apparently famous. I don't know, man. I think most recently he was on the practice squad. Fits the theme. Checking out our right end, Taco Charlton. I remember when the Cowboys drafted this guy. My dad's a Cowboys fan. I love the name. He is also 6'6", which will be very helpful. Big guy. Speaking of big guys, though. Hey, yo, what the fuck? Right behind him, we do have Sean Oakman, 6'8", 280 pounds. If you guys know anything about him, this guy was an absolute stud coming out of Baylor. Could have been something special, but false allegations ruined his career, unfortunately. Never got a chance at the NFL. Could have really been something. He's massive. Checking out our D tackles now, Danny Shelton was another guy who was a star. I wouldn't say star. He was a very, very good player in his prime, but he is past that prime now at this point at 31 years old and 68 overall. On the Browns and Patriots, he was a very good player. He was a two-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots, so obviously he's getting something right. So now he's just trying to hunker down and develop some young guys like John Pinacini, the GOAT. Pretty self-explanatory why he's on the team. Need I say more? Behind him, we've got Russ Blacklock, who was actually very good for the Texans at one point. My friend is a Texans fan, one of his favorite players, but he did get traded to the Vikings and was really never the same player. Didn't really get the same snaps that he did on the Texans. Maybe here he can find the key to his struggles and become the player he once was. Maybe even better than that. Checking out our outside linebackers, and ignore BJ Ojolari. He's injured, so I can't really get rid of him. He is just stuck on the team for 40 weeks because he tore his ACL. But our left outside linebackers as of now are Jason Pierre-Paul. Obviously another guy who is very, very good in his prime, but he is past that prime. Now 35 years old. Did win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and he was a key contributor to those defensive units for the Giants. Behind him, we do have Ronnie Perkins, a 24-year-old, 64 overall. I just saw this guy was young, and I thought Jason Pierre-Paul might be able to develop him, and his name's Ronnie. So why not? At our middle linebackers, we have two former Notre Dame studs, Jalen Smith and Manti Te'o. Obviously, they never really got to play together, but Manti Te'o probably did have something to do with Jalen Smith's commitment. Jalen Smith never really became the player I thought he was going to be. He was very fast and very athletic. I thought he was going to be something special, but obviously never turned out. Maybe he can be something for us, even though he is 29 years old. Manti Te'o also never really produced in the NFL after a very good career at Notre Dame. It might have something to do with the catfishing thing, got into his mental, but he is 33 years old though, and a 64 overall, only 85 speed. He might get overtaken by some of these younger guys. Ben Burke-Irvin, I remember using this guy in old Maddens. He was just a fast user. I wasn't expecting this guy to be anything in the NFL. I doubt anyone really was, but he was fast, good user. Maybe we can turn him into something. Behind him, we've got the GOAT, Bumper Pool. Guy's name is Bumper Pool. 24 years old, 63 overall, only 81 speed. Don't know how we're going to be able to develop him. Been in the league for a year out of Arkansas. Hopefully Bumper can become the GOAT, man. At right outside linebacker, we've got Antonio Alfano, who was a former #1 overall prospect in 2019. Never really played a snap, though. His college career is very, very interesting. I don't really understand what happened, what's going on, but he is in the CFL as of right now. We decided to give him a call, give him a chance, and maybe he can bring that potential that he once had coming out of high school into our program. Behind him, we've got Daryl Johnson Jr. This is just a homage to RBT. He loved Daryl. We had to get at least one on our team. At cornerback, we've got Trayvon Mullen. I know he is not really a reject. He is on the Ravens in real life. He's not really doing much, and he was once upon a time a very solid starter for the Raiders. He was a very good player at Clemson. I loved watching him play. Haven't heard much about him since he left the Raiders. Maybe we can get his career back on track. Behind him, we do have Josh Norman, 36 years old. I used to love this dude. Literally one of my favorite players of all time, second behind Cam Newton. He was a stud in Carolina, man. I don't know why we didn't re-sign him. He has obviously been out of the league for a while, though, so we did bring him down to a 65 overall, 86 speed. He was terrible at the end of his career, I'll be honest. Derrick Henry did him very, very bad. Behind him, we do have another Carolina Panthers pick, Kalon Barnes. He was our 7th round pick, running a 4.23, which is the fastest defensive time when he ran it since 2003. Ridiculous. That 96 speed shows, and hopefully we can develop him into something. I am most excited about this guy, I'll be honest. Behind him, we do have another speed demon, Troy Apke. This guy used to be a user god. He is 29 years old now, though, 64 overall. He hasn't played a game in the NFL in 2 years, so it's safe to say his career is pretty much over. He was a GOAT white corner, though. Never really played corner for the Commanders. He was a safety. He will be playing corner for us, though, that's for sure. Behind him, we do have a guy named Bo Pete. Little Bo Pete has 87 speed. He's 6'1" out of Tulane. He might be able to turn into something special. You never know. I just loved his name. It was very cool. Behind him, we've got Lamar Jackson. That is right, Lamar Jackson out of Nebraska. Don't ask any more questions. At free safety, we've got Earl Thomas, 35 years old. Obviously, he has had some controversies out of the NFL, so I don't know if he should really be on this team. Let me know in the comments who you guys would like me to add or take off of the team. This is obviously pretty much just going to be based all around y'all like the original series was by RBT. He's not really the best anymore, has lost all of his speed. He is down to 84. Last played for the Ravens back in 2020, I believe. He was special during the Legion of Boom days, but obviously he is not the same player he once was, down to a 66 overall. Behind him, we've got Brady Breeze, another white defensive back. We're very diverse here in Rio. 65 overall, 87 speed. He's way younger than Earl. Might end up being the starter at some point, but we'll see if Earl can hold his own. At strong safety, we do have Teez Tabor. Very smart guy with his money, I will say. Played for Florida. He was a very hard hitter. He was a very good player coming into the draft, but never really brought that hype anywhere. In the NFL, he was never really anything. You see, he's a 27-year-old, 66 overall. He did make it to the NFL, though, which is something most people can't, so good for him. Behind him, we do have Smoke Monday, who is just in the name Hall of Fame. 24-year-old, 64 overall. I feel like he can be something special. 88 speed. He might be a long-term starter for us depending on how well he develops. We will see here. Going into the kicker, this guy's name is literally Blew It. I would not doubt if he blows some big moments. At punter, we've got the fat man himself, Presley Harvin. Obviously used to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I don't know why they cut him. Oh wait, I do. He's terrible in real life. Maybe we can develop him into something. He's only 25 years old, 67 overall. He does have 89 kick power. Watching the Steelers in real life, I can say this guy's not very good. With all that out of the way, fellas, this is how the depth chart is aligned as of right now. If you guys would like to make any changes, let me know in the comments. I will obviously be doing pretty much whatever you guys would like with this series. I'll be adding whatever players you guys want. Like the man before me, I will be doing a new player every video from the comments, but it cannot be a player of the same position. Say we got a quarterback in the comments of this video, we could not get a quarterback in the next one. It would have to be a different position. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously, if RBT sees this, I doubt he will, and he doesn't like this and he wants to do this series himself, I will stop after this video. But I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know how you guys would like to see this series go from now on. I will be taking any input to mind, and I appreciate y'all for watching.